It's time for our weekly check-in with the Mayor of St. Catharines, Walter Sendzik, for his weekly update and how that Garden City is doing. We were just talking about the Garden City with the COVID-19 drive-through testing center moving indoors on this chilly Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have that, Bob. You're going to see really as we head into winter, you're going to see some changes, whether it's the assessment centers or how our community is responding to the current pandemic. But you're going to see some changes. So as the chilly weather arrived today, it's going to change some things.
How was your Halloween and how was it in the city?
It went fairly well, and you know there was kids that are out, which is fantastic. I just loved. I was able to drive around to a couple of the neighborhoods and see the innovative ways that they were engaging with the kids, but still doing it in a safe way, and then seeing how people were handing out treats in a safe way. So in our community, I think a majority of people just embrace the fact that we can do things in different ways and still keep our community safe. So it was a good Halloween all around, and we're getting ready now for the winter season.
Yeah, so it's good there weren't any events that caused concern there, but there's certainly concern with the numbers in Niagara. We're seeing them creep up. There was a spike on Friday as well. And what are the numbers like specific to St. Catharines?
Well, the St. Catharines numbers, they're holding. Overall in Niagara, we saw 55 over the weekend, so Saturday and Sunday combined, and that is concerning. It's like a roller coaster ride. We're seeing the numbers go from single digits to double digits, and we do have some long-term care outbreaks here in our communities. We do have one here in St. Catharines as well, and that's very concerning because the impact of COVID-19 on older adults is very severe, and so we want to make sure that the public health, the healthcare professionals, that they're able to do their job, and if we do our job by making sure that we're really keeping that network tight and following the wearing the mask and the washing of the hands, those are the kind of things that will allow our healthcare system to look after the most vulnerable. And we're at that point right now. We've got to make sure that we stay really focused.
Yeah. Having said that, the breakdown in the October numbers show that around half of the cases are under 40 and outside of long-term care.
Well, that's to be expected, right? So you have school starting up, the second week in September. And so with school going back, you do have that higher interaction rate with kids, and kids that are connected to parents that are working in certain sectors, and you do have some community transmission that is taking place. So that shouldn't be unexpected. It's when those numbers are being driven more by the carelessness of young adults going out to parties and not really keeping that distance. We're not seeing as much of that as we had thought, especially with the university and college being back in. I think by and large, Bob, that there's been a tremendous amount of responsibility taken by everybody. And what you're seeing is some of those numbers going up because teachers are back in the classroom. So you are seeing some of those numbers go up, it is unavoidable.
Right, expected. We got to talk about this. Tonight there's a public meeting held by Council for the newly proposed Community Improvement Plan, and a big topic will be some tax relief incentives floated, getting the toxic lands at the old GM site remediated. Tell us about that.
And that's key. So a community improvement program is really tied to the assessed value of property. So if there's a depressed value because of a situation like the GM lands, then we work with a developer, and then over a 10-year horizon, based on the assessed value of the property, that there's tax rebates that are offered as part of a redevelopment. Now, we haven't had one for a couple of years, and it is hurting our community. When you look at a community like Hamilton, that has had a community improvement plan in place for many years, the transformation opportunity is available for the city to work with developers. We need that same tool in our toolbox here in St. Catharines, and the GM properties is a great example. So it's an important vote tonight, Bob, and it's one that if we don't get right, it'll jeopardize those kind of properties moving forward. So it's going to be an interesting meeting.
Yeah, and this is something that's been dragging on, and it would be great to see some action on this. Now, wasn't this introduced a few years back specific to the GM site and Bayshore Group?
Yeah, they had access to CIP previously. We've had one in St. Catharines since 2004. We were actually one of the first communities in Canada to have a community improvement program. And that program pretty much redeveloped Meriton in our community. And so the former GM properties, they had applied for CIP, they had received it, but it was rescinded because there was no activity on the actual property for a fixed period of time. So we need this back in place so that any developer coming forward for that site or any other underdeveloped sites in our community can qualify for it. And then we can accelerate. And this is a key part of our recovery strategy, Bob. If we get this right, the recovery in St. Catharines will be tied to things like redevelopment that'll create jobs, new assessed value, and help take the burden off the property taxes that we have today.
Okay, we will watch this with interest and check in with you again next week. Great to talk to you. Have a great week.
You too. Thanks, Bob.